When you stop playing weak, don't expect applause. The narcissist does not see your newfound strength through the lens of admiration. For them, it is a dagger to their fragile ego. They don't applaud your growth. They perceive it as a declaration of war, a direct threat to the power they've carefully built upon your submission. To them, you are not someone reclaiming your self-worth. You are a traitor daring to step off the script they wrote for you. And when their throne begins to tremble, they don't sit still. They charge into battle. Be ready, because this is when the mask starts to slip. If they once relied on passive-aggressive tactics, pointed silence, cutting remarks laced with hidden barbs, now they escalate into full-blown, unapologetic attacks. They'll insult you to your face, violate your boundaries without hesitation, even humiliate you in public just to prove that you're still prey in their grip. They may fabricate lies, twist the truth, or launch psychological warfare designed to shame you and make you question your own reality. But their goal isn't to win a debate. It's to test whether your strength is real or just a fragile shell. They want to see you collapse, to watch you crawl back to the role they assigned you, the role of the compliant, controllable, weakened version of yourself. But don't mistake their aggression for strength. It is, in fact, a cry of desperation. When you stop playing weak, you unknowingly rip the veil that hid their deep insecurity. They need you small to feel big. They need you trembling to affirm their control. When you stand tall, they lose their anchor, and that terrifies them. This escalation isn't a sign of confidence. It's proof that their world is crumbling the moment you stop being their puppet. Don't expect them to play fair. They will reach for every weapon in their manipulation arsenal, playing the pitiful victim to trigger your guilt, making empty promises of change they'll never fulfill. They might turn sweet, apologize through tear-filled eyes, but this isn't sincerity, it's bait, a trap carefully laid to pull you back in. And if you waver, even for a moment, they'll know your strength isn't solid yet, and they'll push harder, backing you into a corner. They cry, they apologize, they say they've changed, but don't be fooled by the tears. This is not remorse, it is survival strategy. The narcissist doesn't return out of love. They return because they've lost control. When threats don't work, when emotional manipulation fails, they play their final card, the role of the repentant soul. Just give me one more chance. I see where I went wrong. I can't live without you. It's a script that's been used on countless victims before you. And if you agree to return, the next act will be darker than ever before. Because now they know your greatest vulnerability is compassion. They know your heart softens in the face of pain, even pain that's fabricated, and they exploit that very trait to buy time for their next cycle of control. They don't want you. They need you, but not as a human being. They need you as a source of emotional supply, a mirror to reflect their distorted ego. The more you suffer, the more powerful they feel. The more you forgive, the more convinced they become that you'll never leave. And do you know what's more terrifying? That cycle never stops, unless you stop it. The first time, they controlled you with words, the next time with cold silence. Then by making you doubt yourself. And finally, by convincing you that you need them to survive. But no, you don't need them. You never did. What you need is the peace you've forgotten after years of living in their sweet chaos. What you need is a simple, sacred truth. Real change doesn't require a performance. Genuine remorse doesn't need theatrics. A narcissist doesn't change for you. They perform change to lure you back into their gilded cage, a cage where you slowly lose your identity, your self-worth, and even your soul. And once you see that, ask yourself, are you really willing to trade your heart for someone who sees it only as a tool for manipulation? Be strong, not because you've stopped loving, but because you've finally learned to love yourself. So what can you do to break free? First, understand that this chaos is not your fault. You didn't start the war. You're simply reclaiming your freedom. Second, hold your boundaries like steel walls. Every insult, every invasion is a brick testing your resolve. Do not respond with anger or revenge. That's their arena, not yours. Instead, protect your soul. Find refuge in those who genuinely value you. Most importantly, recognize that this isn't just a battle against a narcissist. It's a battle to rediscover yourself. With every step you take in strength, you don't just escape them, you build a freer, stronger version of yourself. And that's the kind of victory they can never steal. The objective, to make you doubt yourself and return to a more controllable role. This is the core of their psychological game. A narcissist doesn't want you strong. They don't want you confident. They want you weak, dependent, and easily manipulated. When you begin to question your own worth, you become their puppet, and they don't even have to pull the strings. That doubt is like a slow poison, eroding your ability to defend yourself. You start asking, am I being too sensitive? Did I misunderstand them? Am I the one at fault? And while you're busy fighting an internal war, they're standing back, smiling, knowing you've handed them control without them having to lift a finger. But you are not helpless prey. You can fight back. First, recognize this for what it is. The doubt they plant in you is not truth, but a tactic. They don't care whether you're right or wrong. They only want you to feel wrong. Build a mental firewall. When they weaponize your past, remind yourself, you are no longer the person you were yesterday. You've grown, you've changed. The past doesn't define you, and they certainly don't get to either. Second, reinforce your belief in yourself by documenting even the smallest things you do well. A list of your little wins can become a shield against their toxic insinuations. Third, don't isolate yourself. Reach out to people you trust, those who can see you with clarity and remind you that you are not the one at fault. This journey is a battle for your very identity. Don't let them drag you back into the shadows of self-doubt. Rise. Face it. Believe that you deserve freedom and peace. Every time you reject their trap, you not only protect your soul, you reclaim the authorship of your own life. Seek support if needed, and keep walking the path of self-protection. The light of truth is always there, waiting for you to reach for it. Don't think a narcissist will always attack with shouting or obvious threats. That's not their style. Narcissists are masters of manipulation, and their weapons are far more subtle. Psychological warfare. No fists, no roars, just deliberate silence. Those heavy, icy silences that make you question what you did to deserve such invisible punishment. A cold glance, brief but cutting like a dagger to your self-esteem. Then come the sarcastic remarks, seemingly light but coated bullets that lodge deep in your mind, making you question your worth. This isn't a war you can hear or touch. It unfolds in silence, yet the pressure and damage it leaves are just as devastating as any physical battle. Weaponizing guilt, after all I've done for you, this is how you treat me? This is a narcissist's signature move. A simple phrase packed with destructive power. They don't need facts. They don't need logic. They just need you to believe you owe them. After all I've done for you. A sentence so inflated, so distorted, that it turns even the smallest gesture, or worse, a manipulative favor, into a mountain of debt you're expected to repay for life. They don't care about the truth. They care about how you feel, and they want you drowning in guilt, tormented by the idea that you're ungrateful or disloyal. And when you begin to question yourself, feeling remorseful for not giving enough, you've unknowingly handed them the key to your inner world. You've allowed them in, and once again, they take the reins. A narcissist's goal isn't to resolve conflict or seek the truth. It's to get you back where they can control you with ease. Guilt and self-blame are their invisible chains. When you apologize for things that never happened, when you attempt to soothe the pain they fabricated, you surrender your freedom. They don't need to force you. You'll dismantle your own boundaries just to avoid being seen as the bad one. But don't be fooled. That guilt isn't yours. It's a virus they've planted in your mind, one that slowly eats away at your confidence and your will.